Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading Words of Radiance for the first time. Each episode we will discuss the chapter and share our experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, Words of Radiance, and today we discuss Chapter 16.
Chapter 16!
First things first, Kita and I just covered Chapter 54 over on Hero of Ages, and a large portion of the epigraph discussion there included things about Syl and the Parshman and the Parshendi, so I'm going to copy-paste that audio so it'll be here as well, particularly because it feels pertinent to something Syl says in this very chapter. So, enjoy. The epigraph itself, I felt, was really the star of this particular chapter, as much as I liked those other two things. I think I'll just read the epigraph this time around, yeah?
Let's do it.
Preservation's desire to create sapient life was what eventually broke the stalemate. In order to give humankind awareness and independent thought, Preservation knew that he would have to give up part of himself, his own soul, to dwell within humankind. This would leave him a tiny bit weaker than his opposite, Ruin. So that's the first of 3 paragraphs and a sentence. So 4 paragraphs. This idea that Preservation puts a little bit of himself into humanity. A couple of things come to my mind at this. The first being, you are of Ruin, after all. And the fact that we've heard that everyone has a little bit of Preservation in them previously as well. It also rings true to the religion in the interlude chapter over in Words of Radiance about how everyone is the same. That's reductive of what it was, but basically it's that they are all pieces of the Cosmere, separated to experience the universe. So there's significant overlap. This is very, very much, I think, grander Cosmere stuff that Sanderson is teaching us right now. The other thing, and it's where my mind went, but it's also where the epigraph continues to go, is surely, eventually, that will diminish preservation, right? Because as long as humans procreate, they could do that ad infinitum. Eventually, we're going to run out of preservation, but...
Overpopulation, no! Yeah.
Right? Now...
Okay, yeah.
The epigraph does offer a you don't need to worry about that now moment in the very next paragraph. That tiny bit seemed inconsequential compared with their total vast sums of power. However, over eons, this tiny flaw would allow Ruin to overcome preservation, thereby bringing an end to the world. So yeah, that's like a yes, but don't worry about it kind of a paragraph, I think. I've talked a lot. What's your thoughts up to this point?
I think we need to get to the end of the epigraph to add mine, but I suppose I'm with you as we go. I'm with you on all of that. I also thought of the way in our current chapter of Words of Radiance, Syl says that she's a little god, essentially, because it all does tie in quite a lot. She's a little piece of a god. So that's also cool, the Cosmere bit of it all.
So you and I are of like mind, because that's the next thing I was going to bring up. To clarify, I read Hero of Ages before I read Words of Radiance in reading order.
Yeah, same.
So I was going to add the clarification. My first read through didn't have that connection. My second read through, it's so glaring. There's a big clue there. So if she is an honor spren, I assume she comes from Honor Beast, or what Yasna might call a big spren deity thing.
Yeah.
So that's big.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool concept. And yeah, so at where we're at right now in reading the epigraph is, okay, so in order for creation to happen, there needed to be some sort of surrender of bits of the deity. And cool. And there was agreement that at some point Ruin would win. They would complete everything and I suppose start again.
It seems so.
So I was interested. Okay, well, we can go to the next half. I'll tell you what I was. But at this,
But even before that, there's another thing, and I almost feel like we should have waited for Words of Radiance to discuss this. Maybe, I'll copy paste this audio and put it at the start of the next Words of Radiance chapter.
Yeah.
But this idea of what is humankind if it doesn't have preservation?
Mm-hmm.
If Roshar has honor and cultivation and odium, are they of honor and cultivation and odium rather than preservation? Or because they are humans who are sentient or sapient, are they of preservation? I don't think preservation supersedes the others, but maybe he does. No, I don't think that's the case. And then my mind goes to the Parshendi, the Parshmen rather than the Parshendi, those who have no music whatsoever. When I contemplate what does human look like without sapience, were they, before this pact, this agreement, were the humans on Mistborn world just these blank things?
Or were they just not there?
Right. And then there's this other idea of why is it preservation that, right, or were they just not there? And at that point, did they create together humans? Are there humans that are of Ruin? We know that Ruin can't create. So how would Ruin also be able to grant sentience? Why is it that preservation, what is it about the concept of preservation that grants sentience? And it seems to me, especially going off of Sill's humans are chaos, if humans are inherently destructive, possibly slightly more so than preservative, is it a fair statement to say that about humans? And is it not fair to say that giving humans sapience introduces chaos into the world, which in turn introduces Ruin? So preservation's not just diminishing himself, but elevating Ruin even more so at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the power that preservation is given up. Because essentially it's a discussion of free will. They're able to choose preservation and Ruin. They're able to choose good and evil, chaos and order, all of the different dichotomies, different spectrums of existence. So yes, that introduces, I like that word, that it introduces chaos by giving sentient sapiens, but all of that, so they can make choices. I like that idea. And then just thinking of it, when you were speaking about preservation versus Ruin, I thought as well that preservation is something that you would, like an evolution, from an evolutionary standpoint, the whole idea is continuation of the species, right? So preservation of the species. So it seems like that ties in as a concept. So continuing of the species, cool. Ruin is ending, and there's this concept of things not being complete unless they've ended, which I'm not convinced, because maybe we are creating for the sake of creating, and being is completion. Okay, that experience, like that whole idea of God being one and experiencing everything, that is not about completion. That's about being. So either way, at this point, it's sounding as well like preservation is the guy that messed it up.
Yeah,
because he's the one that broke the stalemate because he wanted sentience. I think, okay, if we get in deeper as well, you were talking about the population, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the mists killing people and all of that sort of stuff is giving preservation more power. It's a way that preservation is redistributing himself,
trying to take back its
that's
power.
What I was thinking.
To fight Ruin.
Not take back its power, but like try and consolidate it into Allomancers. And this, for me, when I first read this epigraph, I was like, Dorkus called it, because your people of Earth lend me your power thing really came to mind. Yours, but Dragon Ball Z. That's that's what came to mind. Because if preservation is within people, then you can call upon that power. And yeah, it also, we're getting very, very much confirmation that Ruin wins in each of these epigraphs now. It's like, yeah, well, Ruin ended the world and Ruin did this. And it's just a foregone conclusion at this point. So it's like, okay, what are we doing, guys? At this point, I'm just like, okay, what's left then? Can we get to the point where we see what's left, if there's anything left? If we're just going towards absolute destruction and Ruin wins, there's no point in reading the story. For me, it's not complete then. Sure.
And we're back.
Great serendipitous moment where the two overlap. It's cool.
Quite. Hello, Kitty. How are you?
All good. And you?
I'm okay. Kitty, this might be our most controversial episode, even more controversial than the interludes chapisode.
Why?
I did not like this chapter. I was very, very angry about this chapter, and I am going to go very, very hard at Sanderson, I think. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, Kitty, please do me a favor. Find some good things in this chapter to talk about and really highlight them, because I don't think I can do it.
I'll do it. Don't worry. I enjoyed it. Okay. I didn't mind the chapter.
Good. Great.
I can imagine what your disappointment was, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, well, that's just the way the story is going now. So
yeah. Let's start with the epigraph. Nimble form has a delicate touch, gave the gods this form to many. Though once defied, by the gods they were crushed, this form craves precision and plenty. From the Listener Song of Listing, 27th stanza.
This is like, what? What do you mean? They once defied? Like, what? The nimble forms defied the gods and the gods crushed them? Okay.
Here's sort of the thing is, there's a comma between defied and by, right?
Mm-hmm.
Though once defied, by the gods they were crushed. That's kind of like separate-ish thoughts. Now, in the audiobook, I do listen at like 1.5 speed or something like that, so it goes by faster, so you don't really hear the comma. Or at least I didn't. So it's like, though once defied by the gods, they were crushed. And so I read it before I listened to the audiobook, and then I listened to the audiobook a couple of times this week. And having listened to it without the comma put in my mind this idea that maybe it was the gods that defied in some way. So I wrote, Parshendi defied and got crushed, or gods withheld, and Parshendi were reliant on them. So I toyed around with this idea of maybe what happened was the Parshendi, yes, it seems on its face the simplest solution that the Parshendi defied the gods and therefore they got crushed. But if they became perhaps dependent on this form in some way, and then once the gods perhaps reneged on their agreement, because this seems to be this Spren relationship seems to be a mutually beneficial, agreed upon symbiosis thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, the Parshendi were crushed because of that absence, because of that dependence. And therefore, it's by the gods they were crushed, is kind of something that popped into my mind. Gave the gods this form to many. There is no comma. So, I don't know. It's all kind of, it's vague. It's so vague.
Yeah, that's the point. It's like these little mini mystery boxes all over the place that unlock bigger mystery boxes and stuff. It's like, haha, here's some more questions for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I have some answers, please?
Yeah. The word plenty. This form craves precision and plenty. I'm not quite sure I understand what plenty has to do with precision and nimbleness, but sure.
Yeah, I suppose if you're flexible and nimble, you can. It's almost like work form, but better. You can create more intricate things. So maybe there's plenty from that. I don't know.
Right. And so we get into the chapter. it's Moash and Kaladin and Drehi. They're in a special Light Eyes Arena training room area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fairly clear right off the bat that we're not getting the Kaladin, Amaram, Dalinar scene.
Not yet. I feel like we'll get it in a flashback.
I'm skeptical. In fact, I'll outright state I don't think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that. And so the group is more or less surprised that the training arena doesn't really look any different than the one for the Dark Eyes. Of course, Kaladin's got his sort of, what makes this one different is that we aren't here. The Dark Eyes aren't here. So it's a racism thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, well, we're not actually that different. We need to train. We have the same needs, but the only difference is just the eye color and who the space is reserved for. And the fact that they're not there makes it better.
Right. We get the line, it had been 7 days since Amaram's arrival in the war camps. 7 days of dealing with the fact that Amaram and Dalinar were friends. He'd decided to be storming happy about Amaram's arrival. After all, it meant that Kaladin would be able to find a chance to finally stick a spear in that man. And we don't even, in the entirety of this chapter, get a recap of what happened in that confrontation.
Yeah, that's what I think will happen. It won't be a flashback, it would be a recap.
Right. It's possible that we will, maybe from Dalinar's perspective or from Amaram's.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe from Kaladin's, though I feel like this would be the place to put it.
I feel like there's something that needs to be revealed from it, though. That's why it's not here.
I could see that, but no holds barred. I'm really angry that we don't get that scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was built up to. It was a cliffhanger. It was a good cliffhanger. That confrontation is so important because of the weight that Amaram holds on Kaladin. I was so invested in it. I was dying to know. I need to know what happened, and that we're just glossing over it. We are just skipping it. It makes me feel stupid for being invested in it. And it cheapens that scene in that chapter because you don't get that payoff. You know, you now know retroactively you don't get that payoff. And yes, we have not read the rest of the book, so we may get it in a flashback or a recap type thing. But the other thing is I try to account for whether or not it's our reading pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. It's been like 6 chapters. Those interlude chapters were not short. So I don't think Sanderson necessarily intends for readers to read from there to here in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that's a reasonable expectation to have. So I feel angry is my response to this.
I get you. For me, I would get that anger if it does not come. So what's happened to me is that I'm like, okay, well, there is something about this scene that is even more that needs to be revealed. That's what it feels like. Its absence is so noticeable that it needs to have a function. And if that function does not occur, then I will be really annoyed. I'll be disappointed. You know, not even angry, just disappointed. Like, I don't feel stupid for being invested in it because I was just as invested. We were so excited for the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a payoff for this absence. There has to be something. And if there isn't, then yeah, I'm with you. It's a fumble. It's quite a big fumble because it then is just a wasted, it's a cheap cliffhanger because it's like, oh, well, the interludes are coming up now, so let's just do a little bit of a cliffhanger, and then that's it. That's all we did it for. It was just because hi, teehee, isn't it fun? Like, yeah, I get you. But I have hope.
I mean, it feels like nothing came of it whatsoever, even if we do kind of get a recap. And again, I can't see why we couldn't have at least gotten that recap here. Like, he went in, he saw it, and he pretended like everything was okay. We don't even know if Amaram recognized him or not. It just, I'm not getting the sense that we're going to get any sort of meaningful recap. And if we do, by the time we get it, here we are already 6 chapters after the cliffhanger. It will be too late, is my expectation for how I will feel if we do.
Yeah. I knew that this would be when you said you didn't like this chapter, I was like, that's definitely the big thing. Is that the big thing that makes you not like it?
It's the big thing. It's hard to tell if this is what... There's one other thing in this chapter that is definitely affected by my frustration here, but then there are also some other little things that kind of bother me as well. We'll get into those as we get through it.
Okay.
We do get, as he's thinking on Amaram, I don't even want to read the passage on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
He wants a much more up close and personal way of getting that spear in him. And I felt a tremendous amount of empathy for Kaladin in that moment. I distinctly thought, yeah, I've been there. I feel for you, buddy.
But he says he's going to be, he would be storming happy, but he's just really angry. It's not so much happiness, it's unbridled rage. Okay, it is bridled because he hasn't done it yet. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's contemplating doing that unforgivable act. And I do have to wonder, will Syl approve if he does that?
Well, Amaram's not an honorable man, so...
No, he's not. I'm calling it now. The two will be friends eventually.
Amaram and... Okay. Cool.
I think there might be some sort of redemption arc for Amaram throughout this series, and Kaladin will have to learn to deal with the fact that someone can be redeemed.
Sheesh. Yeah, that's a good opportunity, but yeah, that's deep work that has to happen there because he is just irredeemable. And we get more insight into how I mean, he thinks Amaram is worse than Sadeas.
Yeah. But look, just like that one line, he decided to be storming happy about Amaram's arrival. I'm sorry, you did not have that thought in that room with the two of them. You just didn't. That thought comes from stewing on it for a day or two at least. So I need to know what you thought in that room that stopped you from just shouting at them and just outright attacking Amaram.
Mm-hmm. How did it work? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did you say? What did he say? Did he recognize you? Did he not? Yeah.
Did you just walk away? Or yeah. I feel like we will know. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I'm seeing your rage as functional at this point, that he wants us to feel that way. Sanderson wants us to feel that way so that the reveal happens.
Dre, he says the line, "How would you make sparring grounds different for the Light Eyes? Use diamond dust instead of sand?" And Kaladin responds with, "Ouch." And when I read it, I was like, yeah, that's a fine line. I have no issue here. That's like, damn. The VO, the voiceover in the audiobook made Kaladin sound so catty with that line. I was like, well, that's a take.
Was it like he was saying,
girl.
ouch, ouch, like, oh.
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
Like there was too many notes in the ouch. It should just be ouch. It shouldn't be ouch.
Exactly. So I did chuckle at that. We learned that there are a couple former members of the Cobalt Guard in Bridge 4 now. They were prepared to take the Bridge 4 patches and remove the Cobalt Guard patches, and Kaladin has made them wear the Cobalt Guard patches on the other arm. First time going through the sentence, I'm like, that's going to be a bit of a separation then between them and the rest of Bridge 4. And Kaladin does clarify to them, no, this is a mark of pride. And I'm like, okay, you saved it there in the end.
Yeah, it's a mark of pride. They are all in Bridge 4 because they have the Bridge 4 patches. And the original Bridge 4, they had their slave marks, etc. And now they have their freedom marks. So they are separated in that way, but there is that one thing that keeps them together, which is the bridge for Patches. So I like that. It works. And they wanted that. It's good that they wanted the Patches.
Mm-hmm.
It's integration. It's good. It shows they're good men. Yeah.
They are checking out the sparring grounds, and Kaladin notes all of the Ardents that are there. We get the line, his mother would probably lament how little Kaladin cared for religious observance. The way Kaladin figured it, the Almighty didn't show much concern for him, so why care back? It's a very ironic line, considering I think the Almighty is taking a very, very close look at Kaladin.
Well, he's dead, though, remember?
That is true.
But yeah, he bigger forces than him are paying attention to him, though.
Yes. One of the Ardents, the lead Ardent, comes up and chastises them for being in the Light Eyes' training ground. And we get the line, though you weren't supposed to think of Ardents as male or female. Look, honestly, I thought long and hard about whether or not I was going to call attention to this line in this episode.
I also wondered.
I won't go on another diatribe like I did in the Interludes episode, but...
Come on.
I will say this. I think that with the repeated emphasis on these gender dynamics in this book thus far, it has switched in my mind from this is a subtle world-building thing that Sanderson wants to experiment with and make his world unique with, to Sanderson wants us to pay attention to this for a specific reason. He is doing something specific with it. So that's where I'm at now with these lines and why I will probably maybe call them out again.
How does it compare to, say, Wheel of Time? One of the criticisms that people get upset with Wheel of Time is that it's always about the male and the female, and the women have very, stereotypical gestures and things that they do and whatever. I loved it, so I don't have a problem with it, but I understand that people had, that's part of the criticism that people had for Wheel of Time, and it's part of why they had to fight against it in the show and all of that stuff. But it was a core message in the books. So, I mean, literally the way the power system works is male and female and all of that, and it's pretty beautiful. How does that compare in your experience?
Well, with Wheel of Time, that dynamic is part and parcel with everything involved in Wheel of Time. You go into it expecting it. And I think the book, much more effectively than certainly Sanderson has done here, is take the position men and women are different, and that's okay. And they complement each other. And there are good women, bad men, bad men type of a thing. It is a much more, I think, realistic, all-encompassing worldview on the male-female dynamic. I don't remember, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember any supposition that there's no difference between male and female among the Ardents, or that you're not supposed to perceive any difference in Way of Kings, especially with Shallan's budding romance with Capsal and the interlude chapter between the male and female Ardent. So it seems to me that Sanderson's position on gender dynamics, especially emphasized in this book, is that there is no difference between male and female, which is something that I fundamentally disagree with. So
yeah, I think that's the thing that there is. It's not that there is gender dynamic. There are gender dynamics in the book. It's not that. It's actually just frustrating because they are conflicting with our worldview of gender that, like, I think both of us have. Yeah, there's exceptions and things like that. We don't need to get into that. But yeah, the underlying thing is male and masculine and feminine are things. They're in the world. That you can't dismiss them. And literally biology is also there. So it's interesting that you pick up the difference from the first book to this one, because it didn't seem emphasized at all with that. It started off, it seemed like there's different things for males and females in Alethi in the first book. And, it seemed arbitrary. And we were both like, that's weird. That's inefficient, all of that. So if anything, we were like progressive about gender in the first book. But then when it comes to this, it seems like it's trying to make a different message. And that's frustrating, of course, because, we disagree with it, or that it's a slippery slope. Yeah, I understand that it's a niggle. It's like a little thing that's just like, what are we doing here? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, if any of this was in the first book, my expectations of this series would therefore be adjusted to have anticipated it, or anticipated an expansion of it.
Yeah.
It almost feels like this has come out of nowhere, in a way.
It feels like maybe his first book we don't know. Lots of people have so much knowledge about how Sanderson has written and in what order and how long things took, because he's very open with his whole process. But it seems like he got feedback from the first book. Maybe he worried about the criticisms of focusing too much on genders being different, and then put this in. He started putting this in, and then we come back to the discussion of eventually what happens with the whole series, where it seems like it becomes more and more shoehorned in. But we're seeing evidence. Yeah, look, this is subtle. It's not like a huge section swath of text is taking.
Right.
It's not. We're taking our time speaking about it, of course, because of the detail we're going into with the series. But yeah, there are traces of it. You can see how this is not just out of nowhere. Well, what people saw later on in the series was not out of nowhere.
Right.
It's just ramped up, I suppose, by the time we get to, the latest book.
Right. And I think I've said it before, but like, I remember the news cycle when Wind and Truth came out, and it's like, the people that were complaining about it, had you not read this book? Because there's a lot of that in this, it seems.
But the thing is, it's not that huge. I don't think I think it's very easy to just move over it. It's just because we've picked it up, and because of the Winds of Truth. That's why I'm talking about it, is because it's relevant. Like, I would have skipped over it. I knew you were thinking about it. And what really made me laugh after this is that we're not supposed to think of the Ardents as male or female, but male Ardents wear square beards with clear upper lips. Interesting. Right. Is it making fun of just the whole idea of male and female, or just showing how arbitrary ideas can be, religious ideas can be about people? I don't know.
Right.
It was just really funny that we're not supposed to think about them as gendered, but then instead of having them clean shaven, or the men all clean shaven, the women all shaven heads, everything, so they're the most formless androgynous people. Yeah. Like, but no, they get square beards, I suppose, because female Ardents don't have to, I suppose their breasts are allowed, so I guess.
Interesting. And as you said, with the first book, it's not like there weren't specific challenges to preconceived notions, right? Because a big part of Dalinar's story in the first book was like, what, women shard bearers in my visions? Like, that's so unheard of. And I half expect that half of the heralds will be female. So
and that wasn't a problem.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't like we were like, oh my gosh, the woman, that's so unrealistic. It's like, no, the mech suits and everything, basically, that's a good thing. It levels everyone up. Everyone's on the level playing field then.
Precisely.
Yeah. So it wasn't a problem there. It's just, this is weird. It does feel out of place, but I think give us some grace, guys. It is our reading pace as well.
Yeah.
That lets us focus on these things. Yeah.
Yeah. I've sometimes used the word obtrusive to criticize some of Sanderson's recappiness. These kind of lines, they don't feel natural. They feel obtrusive to me. Maybe we'd be having a different conversation if they didn't feel obtrusive.
Maybe they wouldn't feel obtrusive if that happened in the first book.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like, it feels like it's out of like, huh? When did this happen? Like, if we were first introduced, maybe we've forgotten. I don't know. I don't think we have.
Yeah, it's really about how I have set my expectations. And I set my expectations a specific way based off of my experience with the first book. So it is what it is, as you highlighted. It's just one line. I didn't
Yeah, it's just one line. We're good.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
our conversation.
I turned it in. Yeah, I turned it into a long conversation. I'm sorry.
Which is fine. I hope that people find value in it.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everyone. Editor Dorkus here. A quick note. I did remember an important detail from Way of Kings that I overlooked in this discussion, but I did bring it up with Kitty when we recorded chapter 17, so I'm going to cut out that section and put it here instead of bringing it back in the chapter 17 episode, just so we can consolidate the topic. Here it is. A quick follow-up to last week's chapisode. We said a couple of times we didn't remember much, if anything, about the Ardents not being perceived in terms of gender.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by like 98% of what we said in that chapter.
What?
I will say I remembered this week that there was a thing about how Ardents can eat both male and female food.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's true.
The thing is, I didn't connect that in any way. See, I liked that world building. I thought that was interesting. I like male-female food as a world building flavor thing. Haha. Pun. I have no issue with, okay, but Ardents can eat either. That does not inherently mean to me that they remove the concept of gender entirely from themselves. So I don't think it's unreasonable for us to have disregarded that in terms of the stuff in this book feeling as if it comes out of nowhere, especially considering, as you expertly pointed out in that discussion, they still do certain gender things. The males still have beards, and at no point in the first book did Shalon think of Cabsal as anything other than male. Now, part of that could have been that she had a crush on him, but even still. Anyway, I just wanted to call out the food thing.
Yeah. It just seemed of the world, of that world. It wasn't trying, it's just, this is the way this world is.
Yeah. Back to the chapisode. So, Kaladin introduces himself. The lead Ardent is clearly racist because he's dark eyes and doesn't believe that he's a captain, and one of the other Ardents whispers, presumably the information of who he is.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I guess
actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
And good. I was looking forward to experiencing a bit of anti-Kaladin racism in this book. We got it in that earlier scene with the guard, and here we're getting it now. So
yeah, it's the way the world is. We're not going to pretend it's not there. It needs to be part of the context. It's not something we can gloss over.
Right.
But we've also had the varied thing of, like, say, the guy that made the uniforms seemed to be, that's nice, and just carried on. So
yeah.
This is good, nuanced shows of experience. It's not like only one way. It's great.
Correct. And it seems the Ardents can be isolated. Kaladin sends Drehi up to this area where some rock buds are cultivated. And Kaladin basically kind of gives the Ardent a lead. Well, if you have the key, great, you can go let him up there. Which was nice to see.
His tone is also so flippant and then sarcastic, like, oh, well, what would be a problem? The Ardent asks, like, what do you expect there to be danger to be there to be? What danger do you think will be there? And then he's like, hello, look at the weapons. And he's like, oh, shard blades? What could possibly go wrong? Like, just that. he's got such attitude.
And I'm here for it. To a point. Yeah. There will be a point in this chapter where I'm not here for it, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But for the moment, I'm like, yes, Kaladin, be a fucking asshole. Kaladin points to some positions for other men to watch from.
Oh, one little line I wanna, what do you call it? Point out, because we've spoken about giving a shard blade to Moash instead of Kaladin having it. The lean man had turned immediately at the mention of shard blades, and now watched them hungrily. So just a note there that it's like, are we foreshadowing Moash Shardblade?
He certainly seems to want one. Potentially dangerous. And they basically see some light eyes practicing with shard blades. Moash doesn't recognize them, and he thought he knew all the shard bearers in the camp. And we basically learned that Elhokar, I did not clock that Kaladin says the name Elhokar rather than the king, by the way.
I did.
You did?
I was so happy.
That's great.
I was like, because as soon as I noted it, I was like, excuse me, Kaladin, that's a bit familiar. And I didn't know it was coming that somebody else noticed. So I was like, oh shit, yeah.
That's so great.
I was so proud of myself. I clocked something.
Yes. Would you read her line, Kitty?
It is a grand tradition. The High Princes used to do it in their own princedoms before the reunification, and now it's the King's obligation and honor. Men may use the King's blade and plate to practice. The light eyes of our armies must be trained with shards for the good of all. Blade and plate are difficult to master, and if a shard bearer falls in battle, it is important that others be capable of their immediate use. Yes, very much so, madam.
Well done. Oscar.
That's what Kaladin said.
Right? So obligation and honor is a funny way of saying, yeah, he has to do this, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
As Kaladin says, it makes sense, which I get. We learn later on in this chapter, I don't think we knew it before, but it takes like 5 days for someone to bond with their shard blade.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it would be more difficult than one might expect to steal a shard blade. It's not like you just pick it up, hold it for 10 seconds, and boom, it's yours.
Yeah. That's a good limiting factor on it. It's good.
Yeah. So the idea that someone might steal these blades suddenly becomes a lot less realistic to me.
Yeah.
Which makes this, the fact that he lets people use them for training, less risky as well, in my mind.
Yeah.
Or less special? I don't know. The king has 2 shard blades.
One is that of his father, kept for the tradition of training shard bearers. Alethkar has always had the finest shard bearers in the world. This tradition is part of it. The king has hinted that someday he might bestow his father's blade upon a worthy warrior.
Not bad. I'll bet that a lot of men come to practice with them, each hoping to prove he's the most skilled and most deserving. A good way for Elhokar to trick a bunch of men into training. I wrote, boom!
Yeah. Boom, yes. Boom because he said Elhokar, or boom because it's a good way of getting people to train. Explain your boom, Dorkus.
Just like, that is a cutting line. So I just appreciated that.
Yeah, it's a cutting line, and then there is the lack of honorific. So it's like he's criticizing Elhokar and calling him he will trick people. He's also insulting the light eyes because they've been tricked. So it's a full on
disrespect. Yeah.
Yeah, of disrespect, yeah.
And it's very much what I wanted out of Kaladin in terms of how I wanted him to treat those around the camp. So yeah, Kaladin notes that the shard bearers who are practicing with them aren't practicing the way that he had observed people who actually use them fight. My big thought was, well, duh, they are amateurs. Obviously, they are learning to use them. I don't actually think it clarifies that these are amateurs who are learning, but they're training. So,
of course, they're going to do that, yeah.
Yeah. But then on the thought process about how folks with shard blades actually fight, we get the line, even Adolin's duel the other day had, and he gets cut off. If he's referencing Adolin's duel as how people fight with shard blades, I think he might be under a misimpression, because it sounds like that duel was not a traditional fight in terms of how it's comported.
Yeah. And why was this thought interrupted? Why did Sanderson put this here and then get it interrupted by Moesh? Is it was Kaladin going to think of Adolin as not being a very good swordsman, or is he going to think of him as a good swordsman? What was even? What were we going to say there? And why did you not let us? So it's like maybe he was going to think something nice about Adolin. I don't know.
It's possible. But Moash interrupts and says, "Storms, Kaladin, and you were telling me to be respectful? And it's because of this line that I have an irksome note later on in the chapter. So we'll asterisk it.
Mm-hmm.
But well
Okay.
said, Moash.
Yeah, well noted. And Kaladin doesn't even realize. He's like, what do you mean? Like, he doesn't, and like, Moash has to explain to him why he was like, it was disrespectful.
Yeah, and as he does that, Kaladin's like, you're right, thanks for the reminder. So it's like, okay, maybe you won't be so disrespectful 2 pages from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'll let you bring up the next highlight.
He tells Moash where he's going to want him, and he's contemplating about what presents the most likely danger, the folks with swords or the servants. And we get the line from Moash, fine, but tell me something, Cal. Who is this Amaram fellow?
Wait, before we get into that, sorry, I'm just getting into that. This is what I think then the next thing to highlight is that what it was interesting here is he sees a group of parchmen coming in and they're bearing boxes and things, and he goes, those wouldn't be dangerous, would they? And then he even says to Moash, pay attention to servants, sword runners, or anyone else seemingly innocuous. But he's just had that thought about parchmen not being,
yes,
dangerous.
Spies.
But yeah, so it's just like, Sanderson's giving us a wink there of like, yeah, we oopsie doopsie.
Yeah, I also think back to the fact that Zeph disguises himself as a servant. So this could be setting that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get the line, fine, but tell me something, Cal. Who is this Amaram fellow? And this is the next thing that made me really, really angry in this chapter. Really angry. Because it was clunky and it was unprompted. There is no reason for Moash to have brought this up at this moment that I can see. And it's like, it feels like an insult, considering I had already been so mad that we weren't getting the Amaram stuff earlier. And it's like Cal could have easily been the one to bring it up. There are any number of ways that Kaladin could have decided in that moment to confide in Moash.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself, Moash. This Amaram stuff has got me rattled.
Exactly.
Who is he to you? It's terrible line. Terrible.
Like, you know what's happened here is it's as if he's by mistake thought that, we mentioned Amaram before. Kaladin was thinking about him, so we can bring him out now. It's like, no, Moash does not read Kaladin's thoughts. There is no reason for him to bring this up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very hand of the author type stuff.
And like, yeah. And like he's doing it before he walks off as well. It's like, oh, before I go, I need to ask you about this. It's like, what, you never had a chance before this? Like, yeah, I agree with you. It is clunky. When I was reading it, I was just, I just let things go. But yeah, when we go through it again, it's like, come on, guy. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, not great. And Kaladin doesn't go into the depths of the issue, but does reveal that he's the reason he got the slave brand. And Moash is pleased to hear that Amaram's not the hero everyone says he is. So Moash has a slightly bit of a dark path that he's going down as well. And we do get the line from Kaladin, his soul is as dark as any I've ever known, which is pretty dark. And Moash affirms that they are going to get back at them. And it was a little bit weird here in terms of what is prompting what. Moash took Kaladin by the arm. We are going to get back at them somehow. Sadeas, Amaram, the ones who have done these things to us. And it sounds like he's asking Kaladin if they are. But those first 2 lines are like, don't worry, we will get back at them. And then Kaladin nods. So I guess it was a question. That was kind of my experience going through it the first time is, wait, is Moash comforting or is he asking?
Yeah, I think he's asking for his own reasons. I think that's what we're supposed to take from this, is that he also is eager and he looked at the shard blades so eagerly. That's another thing. So we're supposed to think about, I suppose that could be something that prompts him to ask about Amaram, because this is the path to a shard blade. But still, that's headcanon that I have to put in there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Moash has someone he wants to kill.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of anger. So
Yep.
that's what we take away from that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we get a line from Syl.
He's another one who needs to learn to smile more.
Wow. Sexist Syl. I kid.
Yes. She's like, she just noticed all these grumpy humans. Like, but come on, the world's ending. You know this.
Yeah. So Kaladin walks the perimeter to do his job well. It's the first job he'd had since the slave brand. We get that someone had again snuck into Dalinar's room and scrawled some numbers, and it's a date a little over a month away. Was he writing the glyphs himself while he had fits? So, one, we know that he knows about the fits.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Glad that we know that he knows. That he came to the conclusion that Dalinar might be the one doing it himself. I wrote to myself, is it convenient so as to avoid figuring it out, or a red herring? It's a very vague note. I always say I need to write better notes. I think this was one of our first conclusions. Dalinar's writing it himself, right? And we know that Dalinar came to that conclusion. It seems that Kaladin has too. I'm skeptical of how likely it is that Kaladin could come to that conclusion. I guess he's reasonably smart, but I'm not sure. And I guess if he knows about the fits, it's not unreasonable to come to that conclusion. Is this a way of avoiding having Dalinar and Kaladin talk about it, but having them come to that same conclusion, such that Sanderson is trying to manipulate everyone to be on the same page? Or is it being hyper-emphasized as the likeliest solution because it is a red herring and it is not Dalinar writing the message?
Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah, I think that there's no answer to that. We have to go ahead and figure it out. Find out. It could be either or at this point, 50-50. We do have the other presented idea that it's some sort of spren that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be it. And the whole reason he comes to this conclusion this time, or at least considers these other options now, is because he said that last storm he was sure nobody could have gotten in.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like because last time he was blaming himself. Now it's like, wait a second, I made absolutely sure there must be another explanation.
Right. And at this point, if I'm Dalinar, obviously this is Kaladin, if I'm Dalinar, I'd be like, hey, Navani, or Adolin, or Renarin rather, probably safest, stay here while I sleep and keep watch. Just let me know if it's me that's writing it or not.
Yeah.
I feel like this is an easy one to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. Especially we know when it's going to happen around the storms. But yeah, I think maybe it will be then a spren. Like,
yeah.
Why is Navani not there? Interesting.
Syl wants to know if Kaladin will talk about what's bothering him, and he says it's those numbers. Syl still sees the red lightning spren, and Kaladin has not.
I wondered if Rock could see them.
Ask! Oh my god, ask. Spren. Please ask. Holy shit, ask.
Yeah, you need to ask, yeah. And then immediately with the red lightning thing, I was like, oh my gosh, those spren combining with the Parshman or the Parshendi is thunder form or whatever it is, storm form, and that is not a good thing.
Yeah, precisely.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be like a night of mass murder or something.
Yeah.
Syl presses, asking if it's really the Amaram and Dalinar thing, and Kaladin gives the line, it's not a big deal. Dalinar Kholin is friends with one of the worst murderers I've ever met. So, Dalinar is light-eyed. He's probably friends with a lot of murderers.
Kaladin.
Yeah, pushing back on it, but also but Kaladin's not wrong. But Syl seems to be very defensive of Dalinar. Frankly, Syl, if you feel that strongly about him, why don't you go bond with him?
But Syl's just being more nuanced. She's like, listen, he doesn't know, and he's been fooled and all of that. She knows the bottom of, eventually what comes out of this conversation. It's like, you can't be angry at Dalinar. If he knows, then you can be. If then that makes Dalinar's honor fake.
Right. Kaladin argues that Amaram is worse than Sadeas. With Sadeas, you know what you're getting right off the bat, but Amaram feigned honor, and that's worse than anything Sadeas could do.
Yeah, Sadeas has resulted in more deaths at this point, but yeah, it's pretty bad if we're just comparing the honor styles.
Yeah, well, false hope and false admiration can very quickly turn to bitter resentment and betrayal. So I can get it. Like, what? Death only kills you. Betrayal poisons you.
Yeah, it ruins you, yeah.
Yeah. And feigned honor, that is the antithesis of Kaladin and Syl. Kaladin as an avatar of honor. So it's natural that I think he would have more disdain for Amaram than Sadeas. Syl argues that Dalinar is not like Amaram. Kaladin makes his argument. People say the same things about him that they did of Amaram, that they still do of Amaram. He has a moment of hatred for Light Eyes because they're being pampered as they're having this conversation. And Syl is pissed. She basically becomes literally a storm, like a storm. And she says,
"You can honestly say that you think Dalinar Kholin is only pretending to be honorable? Don't you lie to me, Kaladin. No lies, ever."
Up till this point in this exchange, I'm all about it. I like it. I love Syl's anger. I love that she's a storm. I love that she has a problem with lies and lying. Great setup for the inevitable Shallan-Kaladin rivalry. It sets a specific term for Kaladin and Syl's relationship here. Then we get onto slightly shaky ground in my experience with Kaladin's response. Kaladin says, No, Dalinar gave up his blade for us. He's a good man. I accept that. Amaram has him fooled. He had me fooled too, so I suppose I can't blame Kholin too much. Ambivalent in the sense that Kaladin is a character who is exceptionally and remarkably self-aware. He knows when he's being unreasonable.
Well, he's able to let Syl point it out in this conversation. Like, he was just stewing in his anger previously.
Yes. I do wonder if Kaladin is perhaps a bit too self-aware. I don't necessarily ultimately live in that question because I think folks who tend to suffer from depression and folks who are highly intelligent, and I think Kaladin is both of these things, also tend to be highly self-aware. In fact, the self-awareness is probably linked in some way to the depression. So I'm okay with that. I don't think folks who are self-aware are always emotionally willing to vocalize to other people that self-awareness. So there is a big part of me that really wishes that Kaladin would have just remained silent, stubborn, silent, and be unwilling to be like, yeah, Syl, you're right. I wish he would have been caught between not wanting to continue the lie, but not be willing to admit, you're right, no, Dalinar is fine.
I think, yeah, and I see what you mean, but because of Syl's reaction here, that's why I think he wasn't able to. It's because Syl got angry with him. So he's reacting to her. So it makes sense that he is confronted by her. She's confronting his, maybe if she hadn't been so forceful, he would have, and hadn't asked that question. Yeah, he would have been, or the way that she asked the question, I think works. And look, you can be self-aware and still not act on it. So there's that.
True. So then we get Syl's recommendation.
You should talk to him about Amaram.
And at this point, I again find myself really angry in this chapter because in the first page and a half, we had the segment about Amaram. And it's like, okay, we're glossing over this. Ugh. And then we move on. And then Moash brings it up, and we don't really get any answer as to what happened. No recap, nothing. And then we move on. And here we are again with Syl saying, here's what you should do about Amaram. And it yet again forces into my mind the need to know what happened in that room. So uncool, Sanderson. It makes me angry again.
I think that the repetitiveness, the way that this is happening, it's functional. I really have so much hope that this will pay off. I really do. But similarly, if it does not, then it just exponentially increases my irritation, and I will be on par with you.
Cool. I'm glad you have hope.
I just need to let a cat into another room. Just hold on, because he's meowing in the background.
Sure. Kaladin's pretty confident that Dalinar won't listen to him. He says, Dalinar Kholin might be a good man, but he won't let me speak ill of a powerful Light Eyes. It's the way of the world, and that is truth. So final. I was very happy with that line. And it is a jaded truth that doesn't necessarily have to be a universal truth, but it's true enough that Syl isn't like, you're lying to yourself at the very least.
Yeah, she can't deny that.
Yeah. He goes on with the inspection, he's checking things out, and he's thinking about Ardents. A lot of the Ardents are very muscular here, not like ones he's seen in the past. He wonders what he's going to do if one of the Ardents tries to kill a princeling. Look, I feel like if princes are going to be dueling, it's not on the guards to protect them from the teacher. If there's some sort of accident, like I feel like there's an allowance for that's like, no, I get it. It was an unfortunate accident as opposed to like,
it's a training accident. Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to there's a riot and someone throws something or an assassin. So I think he's overestimating his responsibility, but
an assassin can get close, and a double crossing Ardent can get close and use that as an excuse, that training as an excuse to be an assassin and kill them.
Correct. Adolin and Renarin show up. Finally, they are both in Shardplate, and Kaladin tells Adolin that the area is secure, and he uses the word Bright Lord. I was like, oh, well, that's an interesting word there. I thought you didn't use that term. Kaladin. I guess before we get into the specifics of it, I will say this up front. This conversation, this fight that he has with Adolin is everything I could have possibly wanted out of their first scene together and more. And it's great. And I love it. I love the anger. I love the bite. I love everything about it, but it's tinted. It's tinted by the fact that I am really angry about the Amaram scene. And this feels so much to me like a consolation prize. It feels so much like, haha, I know you wanted that scene, but you don't get it. So here's this one instead. And I'm like, yeah, I did want this, but now I'm angry and you're giving it to me when I'm angry. So don't do that.
Yeah.
So that was my experience with this conversation.
But at least you admit that it's a good conversation, that it is a good scene. You're just you're begrudgingly admitting it because you're just angry. It's worsened, I understand.
Yeah. Adolin gives the line, Bridgman, you've decided to start using proper titles for people? Didn't you call my father Sir? I wrote to myself, not a Bridgman, improper title. I was appreciating the irony.
Yeah, exactly. But he's just being a dick, Adolin.
Very much so. And I loved that he called him out for the thing that I called him out for in my notes with the Bright Lord thing. And Kaladin gives the response that Dalinar is in his chain of command. Now, I had thought from the previous conversation that he just wouldn't use the title at all. But I guess, no, it was more that he's like, no, I respect you, so I will call you Sir instead.
And also bear in mind, he's just had the reminder from Moash to be respectful and not antagonize. So just as much as he wants to be a dick, just calling him Bright Lord is just kind of going along to get along.
Yes. Adolin is a bit confused that he's not in Kaladin's chain of command, and I love that. Yes, Kaladin works for Dalinar, not for Adolin. This is not a loyalty thing. This is not an I'm your subject thing. And I think there was another line somewhere in here. I don't remember if later on he says he's not my prince to Zahil. So it's like, yes, Kaladin is not a part of Alethkar anymore. He's a gun for hire kind of a situation, and I'm all about it. He does say he will comply with any reasonable requests, but he's not their servant. And he says there should be plenty here willing to lick your heels. And I wrote to myself, well, glad Moash isn't here. And I'm like, dude, Moash just told you, and this is now like, what, the third time in this chapter, I'm here for it. I love it. But also, dude, you were just told to calm down. Have some self-control.
He tried, but the thing is, Adolin's also making it worse by asking him these questions and saying, well, if I give you an order and whatever, it's just, it makes sense. He was trying to be okay. And, then he gets challenged. So I can understand him losing it so quickly.
Right. And like I said, I'm here for it. I want the fight. I want the cutting remarks. The thing that bothers Kaladin is that Adolin represents privilege. Adolin clarifies the only reason he is not defenestrated Kaladin is because Adolin owes him his life. And I'm like, man, what has Kaladin done to you besides force you to save the rest of your soldiers? He embarrassed him. That's what happened.
Yes, it's his ego. Okay, it's how dare you tell me what to do?
Yeah.
And he's threatening. He's threatened like by Kaladin. Kaladin's better than him. Sorry.
Yep. My patience with you won't extend as far as my father's, little bridge man. There's something off about you, something I can't put my finger on. I'm watching you. Remember your place. Oh.
Yeah, and he's got to put a finger in his... Yeah, and he put a finger in his chest as well. Just no, dude.
Yeah. Huge dick move.
Fuck you, Adolin.
Yeah.
Like, shut up, dude. You're so insecure, and it's not giving alpha.
And it's like, it's not. There is something off about Kaladin, but I'm not convinced that Adolin has any reason to think such a thing at the moment.
Other than he just doesn't like him. Like, rather say, I don't like you.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm watching you. I'm waiting for you to fail, essentially, so I can say, you see?
Yeah, and that's really a thing, as insofar as I have actual criticism for the way that the dialogue is constructed here. It's that I don't think Sanderson is being clever by having Adolin unjustifiably be convinced that there's something off about him when there is. I think it would have been better and subtler to just be like, I don't like you, little bridge man, kind of a thing.
So are you saying that it would be better for him to say that, but we understand that, I don't know, him saying that there's something off about him is him coping, because we know there's nothing off about him.
Yeah, I guess I wish we could have had some sort of, I don't know, bit of investigation maybe on Adolin's part. Like, I'm going to look into you. I need to know who you are, where you came from. You're being dodgy about your past. I don't trust you. And then you can build to there's something off about you. And I feel like we jumped straight to the there's something off about you element.
Which makes it seem like it's just you. It makes it seem like him thinking there's something off is just an ego problem at the moment. It's not actual worry.
Yeah.
It's just because he doesn't like him. But I feel like he's coping. I think it makes sense. He's coping by saying he's suspicious, and that's why he doesn't like him. But it's like, no, you don't like him, and you think there's something off.
Yeah, very much so.
Great lines from Kaladin now. Yeah.
Yeah, he says, I'll keep you alive, bright lord. That's my place.
And he pushes away the finger.
Yes. Badass action. Mm-hmm. He's not subordinate.
Yeah, and also just don't touch me, dude. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
That gesture of putting a finger in somebody's chest? No.
Yeah.
Has a different context with women, but like, still, it's just, It's so wrong. It's just like, no. This has nothing to do with respect. Take your hands off me.
Yeah. At this point, I was wondering if this was going to devolve into some sort of duel or a situation where Adolin was going to be like, pick up a shard blade, let's go. And Kaladin would have been like, no. And then Adolin would have been like, you coward. Even though we know more or less the emotional space that having a shard blade holds for Kaladin, I think that could have been a really interesting direction to take this.
But this does give us the opportunity sometime in future, because we did think we need them to fight at some point. So how would it happen? Yeah.
I also did wonder if Kaladin was going to train Renarin at some point, or if Renarin would be like, hey, I'd like to train with him because he saved Dad, kind of thing. That could be really interesting as well. Adolin says, I can keep myself alive. Your job is to watch over my brother. And then he leaves. Kaladin mutters to himself, spoiled child. And I thought that last bit was much. It felt really immature for Kaladin.
I literally was just thinking it. I was thinking spoiled brat. So just when he did that, it was just relatable.
Fair. Kaladin is 20 now. Turned 20 when he was in the bridge crew. As he's checking out Renarin's shard plate, we get the line, by giving his plate away, Dalinar suggested that he felt he needed to win his next victories as a politician. It was a laudable move. So I roll at the it was a laudable move thing. But the real thing here that bothered me is the repetition of the idea about Dalinar needing to win his victories as a politician. And keep in mind, I'm already in an angry mindset going through this chapter. I wrote to myself, we know this, stop telling us. And I guess I was just frustrated with some of Sanderson's idiosyncrasies. Is that the word?
Yeah.
In his prose?
Yeah, writers have that. Definitely. It's a criticism people have of Robert Jordan. But the fact is that we are having a character notice this about another character. It's not, it's for us to note that Kaladin thinks this. Kaladin has realized it. We know this, but Kaladin has just realized it. Kaladin has just had the thought. So that's why it's there.
Sure. Kaladin thinks that he wished Dalinar had kept the shard plate because it would help keep him alive. It occurred to me, back in the prologue in Way of Kings, I don't think Szeth sucked in the light from Gavilar's shard blade and plate. So I know I've been pushing that idea a lot with Kaladin, but it is possible that he can't. Like, that's not a thing that you can do. There's something special about them, maybe. Or it could be that Szeth was purposefully allowing for Gavilar to have an actual chance at killing him because he wanted to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Point being, I thought, well, it could be ironic if the light from the shard plate could be sucked out and then make an assassin's job easier.
I just thought of it when I was thinking, are they going to fight? I'm like, where does he have Stormlight on him? And then I'm like, wait, he could take it from the shard plate. So yeah, I want that answer. Don't answer it. We don't know yet.
Correct. Adolin goes off and is talking to some of the Ardents, and he supposes that Adolin had waited this long for Renarin's training because he probably wanted him to have the blade as well. Syl is confused why the brothers are bowing to Ardents when they are slaves.
Syl says humans don't make sense.
Yeah. And Kaladin responds with, if you're learning that now, you haven't paid attention. Then Syl surprisingly says,
I don't like them. Either one, Adolin or Renarin.
And that was a bit of a surprise to me, because I would have, I guess, guessed she might have liked Renarin. I mean, I don't think I've seen anything offensive from Renarin. I guess we are told that he gives off creepy vibes in-world, not out-world. But in-world, he's always seemed dutiful and intelligent and well-intentioned. So I was surprised that Syl would dislike Renarin. You don't like anyone who carries shards.
Exactly.
You called the blades abominations before, but the Radiants carried them, so were the Radiants wrong to do so? I liked this question. Did she call blades abominations? in the text, or did she just say that she didn't like them? I don't remember specifically.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I did ask the question, though, because I don't remember her saying abominations specifically.
But you know what? We're going to have to believe Kaladin.
Yep. She says that the shards weren't abominations back then, and it was the knights that changed. So Kaladin responds with, so it's not that the weapons are abominations specifically, it's that the wrong people are carrying them. And Syl says that there are no right people anymore, maybe there never were. So that's a bit nihilistic coming from Syl.
Yeah, and I would be like, isn't Kaladin good enough? Come on.
Yeah. Look, I don't think...
This gave me hope for Kaladin with a shard blade.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be worthy of it.
Yeah. I don't think that all people can live up to all ideals at all times, or to any one specific ideal all the time. Life is gray. I don't know.
That's it. Like, she's seeing it as very simplistic, and it is. It's a pessimistic way of looking at things.
Yeah. Kaladin asks the excellent question, where did they come from in the first place? Syl goes silent. She had a frustrating habit of doing that when his questions got too specific. Well?
I wish I could tell you.
Then do.
I wish it worked that way. It doesn't.
Okay. I said I was going to go hard at this chapter.
Okay.
I did not like this exchange. I did not like it at all, and it furthered my anger. You should see my notes. Frustrated. We already know memory faulty. Stop calling attention to it. It feels like taunting now, is what I wrote. To elaborate, we've had this conversation before. We already know that her memory is faulty. I presume it is an authorial mechanism to avoid having to give us too much information too quickly. It is Sanderson specifically guiding what we know and don't know to make exciting the mystery and to avoid having to overwhelm us with too much exposition. I accept all that. And 1 or 2 times of this to reinforce that she can't is enough. When you keep doing this I don't know thing, it feels like taunting. I know you have stuff that you want to know and I could give it to you, but I'm not going to. Yes, I ask these questions, but I'm not going to get angry if you don't give me those answers for a long time, but I will get angry if you keep reminding me that I have these questions and you could tell us, but you don't.
Yeah, I can see that. But devil's advocate, yeah? You could be then in an alternative universe, you would could be complaining, why doesn't Kaladin ask her? Why doesn't he ask her these things? Because they must at least try. So I can imagine us giving that criticism. And this is also ambiguous. I wish it worked that way. It doesn't. This doesn't seem like memory. Maybe there's a rule that she can't speak about it. So that's another thing that came up in this one. And I think your anger while reading this just made you frustrated with just how Sanderson does things. He does this all the time. It's always giving us a little hint here, a little hint there. So it's just at this point, I think you had so much anger towards him that you would, like, everything that was him was irritating you.
I think so. And I think you raised some valid points. I guess I wish that this exchange felt different structurally than the past, I think, 2 or 3 times that we got this kind of exchange then.
Well, the way it stood out for me as well is we got some bit of an answer about the shard blades, that it's not that they're corrupt themselves, it's about the people. That's a very big message to get from the conversation. So, yeah. Yeah, that is a very important thing to note. Well, now I feel bad for being so frustrated, but you had emotions were high. That's it. Yeah. And it's good. Like, I wouldn't feel these emotions if I didn't care so much about these characters and this story, and if I weren't enjoying it so much. Exactly. You wouldn't care if he wasn't so good at making you care about that. You wouldn't care if he wasn't so good at making you care about them, which makes him a good writer. Yes. At this point, Kaladin notes a
mysterious-looking man watching the princelings. A man stood there leaning cross-armed against a waist-high wooden railing. So that cross-armed, this guy gives off such badass vibes. I don't know if take this complaint with a huge grain of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I clarify that because of how serious my previous criticisms in this chapter have been. So I say this more lightheartedly. I feel like Sanderson goes overboard in trying to make Zahil the cool guy.
Yeah. Well, it's a grand entrance. I think he's going to have quite a role to play. It's a grand entrance of a new character. He's got to be memorable.
Yeah. He's not like the other Ardents.
Mm-hmm.
He walks over and the guy is long-haired with a short, scruffy black beard, wearing loose tan clothes and tied ropes. He's probably not an assassin because this guy stands out. He's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the best assassins never stand out. He even has a scar on his cheek. So cool. I suspect that Zahil is a well-loved character in the fandom, though I don't really spend any time in the fandom for fear of spoilers, so I can't say for certainty. But I bet he's well-liked. I bet people love drawing fan art of him. He scrapes his foot as he gets close to the guy, and then the two kind of have a standoff. And he could see the man's eyes now. They were brown, but Kaladin had trouble placing his age. Those eyes seemed old somehow, but the man's skin didn't seem wrinkled enough to match them. He could have been 35 or he could have been 70. At this point, I wrote, "Is it Tolanel?"
Who knows? He's something otherworldly at this point. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and we don't know what became of Tolanel, and it seems to me a logical thing that he would check out Alethkar.
Yeah.
Go to where many shard bearers are.
Yeah, and he's seen some stuff.
Yep. Kaladin fails his deception charisma check thing. I'm a little jumpy. First few weeks on the job. And who are you? I'm trying to learn everyone's names. And we get the classic cool guy non-response response. You're the bridgeman, the one who saved the High Prince. You don't need to keep prying. I'm not going to hurt your damnation, Prince. Wow, so cool. So badass.
And he has a strange accent. He's so out of place.
Yeah. And that's when we get the line, he's not my prince, just my responsibility, which I think is a great line. Really, really great. He's an ex-soldier, and Kaladin realizes he's wearing Ardent clothing, and he introduces himself. They call me Zahil, or something. I don't remember how the audiobook said it.
I don't either, but also it's they call me, not my name is, it's they call me.
Yes.
So the mystery deepens.
Yup. We get the line, occasionally a soldier retired to the Ardentia if he had no other life to return to. Between Kaladin's earlier line about the Almighty not taking any particular interest in him and this line here, I feel like Sanderson might be foreshadowing the end of Kaladin's story, possibly. By the time that Sanderson wraps up the series as a whole, Kaladin might join the Ardentia and have nowhere to return to. If it still exists, yeah. Or join the church, whatever church. Just a thought. This is Kaladin's destiny. Kaladin thinks about a guy named Hav, and if he's in one of the monasteries now, Kaladin asks Zahil what the two of them are doing, and the Ardents, and basically Renarin has to be chosen for training. Can't they just pick whichever one they want? Doesn't work that way. It's kind of an awkward situation, though. Prince Renarin, he's never practiced much with a sword. Being chosen by a master is a step that most light-eyed boys of suitable rank take by the time they're 10. I actually did have a problem with the line. It's kind of an awkward situation, though. That feels like the line of a young character. It felt, I don't want to say anachronistic, it felt weird coming from the cool guy vibes that Zahil gave off. Yeah.
Yeah, the word awkward just doesn't work there. We needed something else. We needed something cooler and smoother and less, oh my god, it's awkward.
Yeah.
Like even the word strange would have worked, or it's an uncommon, or it's an uncomfortable situation. Like that's better than the word awkward. Interesting.
It's a nuanced relationship.
Yeah. You want detailed analysis. We are line by line criticizing this.
Yep. Which I hope people are enjoying.
It's a good thing. I'm not calling us out for it. I'm saying I'm celebrating it.
Yes, me too. It is revealed to Kaladin that the reason Renar never trained is because of health issues. And Kaladin clarifies, would the Ardents really turn him down? And Zahil says they could, but they probably won't. Not brave enough. Damnation, I knew it was suspicious that he waited for this until I got back. So there's the answer as to why this was happening now rather than sooner. And you get the sense, especially from the interaction we are about to get, that Adolin and Renarin really want Zahil to make the offer.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, oh, they won't refuse and whatever he's speaking about it, but it's like he's begrudgingly going to accept. That's what I expect.
Yes. At this point, Adolin calls out, Swordmaster Zahil, you aren't sitting with the others? Zahil gives a glance and a sigh toward Kaladin and heads on over to Adolin. And it is at this point I feel that Sanderson missed a really, really good opportunity. I feel like he could have had Adolin give a dirty look to Kaladin here, or display a moment of anger that Zahil and Kaladin were interacting. Given Adolin's dislike of Kaladin and seeming significant like of Zahil, I feel like there should have been some sort of defensive, hold on, what's going on here? You two don't become friends. No, you do not do that. Kind of just a glance. It didn't need to be this whole big thing, and I think it really would have elevated the Kaladin-Adolin rivalry.
It's big enough, so adding even another bit of fuel would work, yeah? But maybe it's just testament to how much he really likes this Swordmaster, because it's just like he's focused on him, and, he'll also let the Swordmaster know that there's something off about that guy, leave him alone, or whatever. That could come later, but yeah, just a glance would have worked.
Yeah. Zahil runs off. Kaladin thinks he's odd. Syl says,
You all seem odd to me. Everyone but Rock, who is a complete gentleman.
He thinks you're a god. You shouldn't encourage him.
Why not? I am a god.
Syl?
What? I am!
She grinned and held up her fingers as if pinching something very small.
A little piece of one. Very, very little. You have permission to bow to me now.
I always love Syl. She can do no wrong. Everything that Sanderson writes for Syl is wonderful and perfect. Don't ever change. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think we pretty much covered this stuff with the segment from Hero of Ages that I'm going to plop in the front of this episode. But yeah, that's very much preservation in humanity.
And also the interludes, faith thing of experience, Cosmere-ish stuff, yeah.
It makes you wonder if the religions were started by the Spren, or that particular religion.
Yeah.
And thus they walk off, and thus ends the chapter. But also there's some artwork.
What does it say? I'm on Kindle, so I need to put this on my my iPad so I can see it properly.
So
it's very pretty.
Very pretty. It's pattern in many different permutations. And is the word fractal correct?
Yeah, it's fractal. Yeah.
And so the bulk of the writing, much of which is scratched out, or I will rephrase, water damaged, probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it basically is describing the fractal nature of pattern. I don't necessarily know that there's anything specific that we need to discuss in terms of those descriptions.
Not yet.
The pattern is changing shape almost constantly. It shifts pace, often changing slowly at some times and quickly others. Can't tell what causes that change. Variety of permutations, always dividing and combining, but consistently even. It's describing fractals. The big thing for us to discuss here is, well, one, Shalon, I assume these are her notes, says, I'm almost certain I have seen this somewhere before. And yeah, I think she's referring to her memories that she has suppressed there.
Mm-hmm.
And then in a note that is not written by Shalon, we have, and it's cut off, you have no idea what I went through to recover this from the bottom of the Rasharan Ocean. And that suggests to me that Shalon's fear of all her artwork being lost has been unlost, although it's questionable if she'll ever see them again.
Yeah. Thanks, Naj.
Yeah, because I assume it's Naj.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it says the note on the note, it says Naj.
What? It doesn't in mine.
Yeah. It does. It says that note that you don't know what it is, and then it says Naj at the bottom.
What do you see below the lines bottom of the Rasharan Ocean?
Just hold on.
Okay, because I see the tops of words, but it gets cut off by the end of the page. So.
Oh, yours is cut off. No, mine literally says, you have no idea what I went through to recover this from the bottom of the Rasharan Ocean. You owe me a new coat, Naj.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have that note. Is there anything else down there, or is it just that in terms of art?
Just that ends it, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Uncool publisher.
Kindle for the win.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. That was quite a chapter. I was going to say good chapter out of habit, but I sadly don't think I can actually say that here.
Emotional chapter, angry chapter, still worth talking about chapter.
Yes. Anything else to say, Kitty?
Like the video.
If you like, Kaladin has to decide when and how he's going to hit the like button right into Amaram's back. You guys just have to hit the like button on this video. That one wasn't good. Do you have a better one,
Do
Kitty?
it. Syl thinks that Syl said that shard blades were an abomination, but this video is not an abomination, so you will like the ad. Yeah, it's just not working, guys. Just like the video.
If you like, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Don't Kita if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel.
Subscribe to this channel because you know it's great.
And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.